This is an analysis from Alpha Business Media. When you think of Nepal's technology sector, you probably think of one thing: outsourcing. And for good reason. It's become a reliable, cost-effective hub for IT services. But that's only half the story. Today, we're going to explore the other side, a budding, high-potential creative industry that could, honestly, redefine the country's entire economic future.
Just look at this number for a second: 200 million. So what do you think it is? It's not the country's population, it's not its GDP, it's the number of downloads for a single mobile game, a game called Ludo. And it wasn't made in Silicon Valley, it was made by a studio in Pokhara, Nepal. This is the hidden side of Nepal's tech scene we're talking about.
And that one game, well, it perfectly captures the two realities we're looking at today. On the one hand, you have the well-known success of Nepal as an IT services exporter, a solid, reliable model based on providing services to others. But on the other hand, you have these incredible pockets of creative success, companies focused on creating their own products, their own intellectual property. The real question is, why hasn't the success of the first one fueled the growth of the second? Okay, let's dive in.
So, let's start by digging into these two parallel worlds. First, the major economic driver that everybody knows about, and second, this collection of hidden champions that are showing us all what's really possible. The first reality is, you have to admit, very impressive. Back in 2022, Nepal's IT services exports topped $500 million. That made it the country's leading export sector. This is the face of Nepali tech the world sees, a dependable BPO hub. But behind those big numbers, something else, something really exciting, is starting to take shape.
And that brings us to where this potential is already becoming a reality. We're talking about these pockets of genuine global excellence. Now, these aren't just small local players. These are companies that are out there competing and winning on the world stage, proving that the creative talent is already there.
In this table right here, it gives you a great snapshot of this vanguard. We're talking mobile game developers, visual effects studios, innovative hybrid companies, all of them proving that you can succeed, even in what is, frankly, a very tough ecosystem. But what's really staggering here is the scale. Let's just zoom in on two examples. You've got Yarsa Games, whose simple Ludo game has been downloaded over 200 million times. Think about that. Then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have Incessant Rain, a studio doing elite-level visual effects for global hits like Mr. Robot and Watchmen. So this isn't just about potential, this is proven, world-class capability. Which leads to the really crucial question: if this talent exists, why isn't the whole industry scaling up? And that question brings us to the core diagnosis of the problem. Because despite these clear, shining examples of success, there are 4 systemic obstacles that are preventing these pockets of excellence from becoming a dominant global industry. The first one is something we're calling the talent paradox. Every year, Nepal produces over 10,000 IT graduates. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a pretty healthy talent pipeline, right? So why does every single creative company report a critical shortage of experienced specialists? Well, the answer is a combination of things. First, there's a serious brain drain. But even locally, the high-paying outsourcing sector acts like a gravity well, sucking up all the top talents because riskier creative startups just can't compete on salary. You add outdated university curricula to the mix, plus government quotas that actually limit the supply of new talent, and you've got a perfect storm.
Second obstacle, the infrastructure gap. Sure, basic internet access has gotten better, but creative industries have very specific, very high-end needs that go way beyond what you need for standard IT services.
I mean, they need consistently high-speed, reliable internet, which is still a huge problem. You've got frequent power outages that just wreck production schedules, and there's a complete absence of specialized facilities like render farms or motion capture studios. The government's IT park was supposed to help with this, but it just hasn't lived up to its promise, which means almost all development is stuck in the Kathmandu Valley.
The third obstacle is what we'll call the capital dilemma. Now, getting funding is tough for any startup in Nepal, but for creative companies whose whole business model is based on hitting it big with an original idea, the risk is way higher, and that makes getting capital almost impossible. There's a severe shortage of local venture capital. And while you can get foreign investment, there's a minimum threshold of around $150,000. That effectively blocks the smaller, absolutely crucial seed stage investments from angel investors.
This forces so many studios to rely on informal channels to get money in, which means that cash never gets formally reinvested back into the ecosystem. And finally, the fourth obstacle, the policy puzzle. The government has launched these big, broad initiatives like Digital Nepal. But the question is, are these strategies actually designed to support the very unique needs of a creative, product-based industry? The simple answer is no, they're not. These policies are way too generic. And here's the core issue. They're applying a service industry mindset to a product-based world. That strategic mismatch, combined with some really outdated laws, creates this climate of uncertainty that just scares away the kind of long-term investment you need to build valuable original IP. So those are the problems. But just identifying them isn't enough. The good news is, by looking at international success stories, especially from places like Poland and Finland, we can actually lay out a really clear, actionable, four-pillar strategy to tackle each of these obstacles head-on. And these four pillars are designed to be a complete response. We're going to build a talent ecosystem to solve the talent paradox. We'll implement targeted policies to fix the policy puzzle. We'll fuel the investment engine to solve the capital dilemma. And we'll build a global brand to overcome obscurity. For that first pillar, talent, we can take inspiration from Finland. Imagine a creative talents fund modeled on their Taike system. It would give small grants directly to individuals and teams so they can build new skills and develop early-stage prototypes. It's about nurturing talent right from the ground up. Now for policy, we can look at Poland's incredibly successful Game In program. A similar state fund in Nepal could co-invest in the research and development of ambitious, original projects. By sharing the risk with private studios, it encourages them to innovate. This is exactly the kind of targeted support that's missing. To solve that capital dilemma, the Warsaw Stock Exchange gives us a brilliant model. Creating a dedicated tech and gaming index on the Nepal Stock Exchange, let's call it a NEPSI Tech Index, would give investors a clear path to liquidity. And that's the key. It gives them a way to get their money out, which makes them far more willing to put it in the first place. And finally, to build that global brand, Nepal could launch a flagship international conference modeled on Finland's famous slush event. Imagine something like the Himalayan Game Fest. It would become a marketplace connecting Nepali talent with global publishers, investors, and media, putting the entire ecosystem on the map overnight. So when you put this all together, it's clear that Nepal is at a critical crossroads. The country has proven it can execute. Now it faces a really strategic choice between two very different futures. Look, the journey from being a service provider to a creative powerhouse is not going to be easy. As the source material puts it, it's like climbing a new Everest. It requires a clear strategy, a lot of preparation, and a huge effort from everyone involved. But the potential reward? A thriving, innovative, and globally respected creative economy? Well, that's a view from the top that is absolutely worth the climb. The roadmap is there. The examples of success already exist. The talent has been proven. The path forward is clear. But the climb is going to require a true national commitment from the government, from industry, and from education. So the only question left is this: will Nepal choose to ascend?